Hey everyone, happy holidays. My name is Marcus Hernandez, and welcome to The Sun Life, a series where I interview local musicians, artists, friends, creatives, entrepreneurs, anyone that I find remotely interesting, and ask them questions about themselves, their lives, our shared love of music, and we get into basically, how they live their own sound lives and how we can live our own sound lives through their lens in that sense, and maybe get some perspective on that as well. Um, Before I get into the interview, I'd like to just start off by apologizing for how long it's been taking to release more episodes. The last episode I released, which is the only episode I've released thus far, is was back in March 2024. It's currently December 2024, so it's been a while. But a lot of things has happened since then. I would say that one of the biggest setbacks was perhaps me underestimating the complexities of video editing, and really just video recording and production. There's a lot of definitely moving things here, in terms of understanding lighting, right? Understanding how to manage it and to set up a camera like this, and to I mean, video editing too. That was probably the biggest hurdle for me. And fortunately, I've had a lot of help from friends and whatnot, but it took a lot of trial and error to get here. And I'm still learning, right? I think life is is basically just a lifelong like pursuit of just learning and understanding. There's always something to learn. But I just feel bad that I just wasn't releasing stuff consistently. I had a lot of other things happen in my life, such as work opportunities, things that did work and did not work out. But I still had to put my time into those things and see those things through. Um, and also, like, I guess one of the most obvious things is, between the last episode and this one, there's a different room that I'm recording my introduction in. And this room is attached to a place that I have because I have my own place now. So moving is always a huge thing. And that took some time for me to sort that out as well. So that was a good like 4 months of my time right there alone. If you also include setting up this, for me, I guess just this little beautiful little home studio that I have now. Get here we go. Get a good look. I gotta show it off at least, right? So this alone took me 2 months to set up after moving in, and I mean, I love it. Honestly, this is probably a dream come true for me, having my own place and having my own little production studio that I can work on all this stuff, and work on more content. And there is more stuff coming. There are more videos that I'm editing. There's also some cool music projects that I'm working on that may be released under a different name in the future. Who knows? If you know me already, you know that whatever I say may take longer than it will. So just put a small grain of salt on that. But there are some cool things that I'm working on, and I've never been more excited than ever, like to just get into this and do this. And yeah, so it's been a blast. Again, I'm sorry it took this long. Um, Today's interview, this episode, is with Bryan Smith, and Bryan Smith is basically a musical big bro for me and a lot of other local musicians that cut their teeth in this area, in the Palm Beach County area, South Florida, what have you. And Bryan is like, he's probably one of my like favorite local musicians and talents here. The dude's just phenomenal. Like, he lives and breathes music, and this interview is such a cool foray into his life and his colorful background, ranging from going to high school and performing arts, um, high school, and just his dad's awesome taste in music and how that inspired him as well growing up, and just all of the crazy trajectories he's been in his life, including broadcast and being the iconic Smitty on 103.1 The Buzz, and his move to LA and working on Ridiculousness, and just his just perspective on life and how he views music, and it's a fun, hilarious interview, and yeah, it speaks for itself. Before I get into the interview, one more thing I will like to note is that Bryan Smith is organizing and going to put on an event at the Old Keen Limehouse in Lantana, and it's to raise funds for the tragic shooting that happened in downtown Lake Worth, where 2 people died and others were injured and hospitalized. What a tragic time of the year to have something like this happen to anyone really. It's just awful. So it was really awesome of Bryan to put this thing on, and he has the flyers that are supporting him in this event, which will be done this coming Sunday at the old Key Lime House, of course, starting at 1 p.m. So there's going to be starting out with some acoustic acts, some smaller stuff, but then the flyers and the Girl from Material are going to be going on and performing and ripping it up. And if you're a live music fan, well, one, that the old Key Lime House is probably one of the longest tenured locations that's been running live music and supporting live music in our community. So when something like this happens to our community, it happens to all of us. And it just shows the type of character that Bryan Smith has to just immediately, put this event on and to help people in such a trying time right now. And having the flyers, if you're also a live music fan, the Flyers and Girl from Material are probably some of the best bands in the area, easily. So it's probably going to be one of the best shows of the year. If you want to check that out and support the old Key Lime House and the family members and loved ones that are, and the people that are, dealing with this whole situation like that, just go support, please, 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 please. Go and check them out. Go to Old Key Lime House, show them your love, support, because I think now more than ever, community is probably the thing that we need to prioritize more than anything else. Whether it's our musical culture, the people that choose to take things on like that, and I don't know what else to say, but let's look out for each other. And show up to the old Key Lime House Sunday, 1 p.m., and check out Girl from Material and the Flyers. All right. With that being said, without further ado, here's my interview with the one and only Bryan Smith. Please enjoy.
Well, Bryan, I pressed record on everything, so
That's
here
awesome.
we are.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah, so this is the podcast. Thanks for watching me set up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you did a really good job. We got lights there.
Yeah.
Behind me, we opened some windows. My cat was helping you out.
Yeah, the cat was definitely making sure
Otis is like your
keeping proper distance.
He's like the producer of the podcast. Now he's taking a nap on his cat tower.
Union sanctioned.
Yeah, he's getting union wages. We make sure he gets at least 3 cans of cat food for every job he does, and he's set.
Oh, man, yeah. So this is cool. I definitely was looking forward to doing this interview.
Yeah.
So, but I knew you have, history in radio and all sorts of stuff. So I was like, all right, I can't, Bryan cannot be the first one.
Oh, well, from the get, your equipment is perfect. When I worked at radio stations, these were the industry standard, the SM7. And then I was saying before, there's an EV mic we used to always use, but yeah, these are wonderful. I feel like I'm back on the radio.
Nice, man. Well,
103.1, the Buzz.
We can. Oh,
Yeah.
Is that Smitty I hear?
Yeah, that's Smitty. Yeah. Coming up, Green Day.
I can't believe it's kind of wild that I was like, I remember just driving around in high school, just being angsty and just hearing your voice.
I know.
Playing me more like Nirvana songs and all sorts of
Yeah. It was fun. I missed the Buzz. It was a really good time. I feel like if the Buzz came back now, it might be successful again.
I think so,
I feel
too.
like trends, it's like a 20-year loop, 10 to 20-year loop of like, it's cool. Oh, it's not cool. Oh, it's cool again.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I agree, man. I mean, who knows? Like I was just thinking, radio isn't. I don't feel like kids listen to the radio so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the equivalent of that for the Buzz? On just
Well,
regular?
you would just have to be. If you're the Buzz, it would have to be beyond radio. It'd have to be so radio would be part of it, but you have to have like a strong online presence and things like that. Like, Kevin and Virginia are a local radio.
Yeah.
And Jason. So we used to compete with them, but they're still doing it, and
There
God
you are.
bless them because it's.
Yeah, Virginia tries. Yeah, she booked me for something not too long ago.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And radio's fickle, and it's gotten smaller, so less jobs, and the fact they're still doing it. But I think what makes them able to do it is I go on Facebook, I can watch videos of them. So you have to just keep
Yeah.
it like a multimedia sort of thing. That was the problem with radio back when I worked in it. It always felt like they were like, I don't know if it's still the case, but like 5 to 10 years behind the times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of caught up with radio and maybe bit it in the butt. But I still love it as a medium. When I lived in Los Angeles, I listened to radio because the radio there was important to me because the stations, it would teach me about shows coming and events happening in Los Angeles. And that was more like the publicly funded stations, which you would find in like the 80s on the dial.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think there's still potential for radio. I like the idea of hearing something live. Like I'm hearing your voice, like you're speaking right now. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. The few times I've been in a radio station were pretty incredible, man. Everyone's just moving, like things are being cued in and out, like on the fly.
Yeah.
Like how much control, like, and just I don't know, confidence you need to have in yourself as a host to run things on. Like you're like, fuck it, we're just gonna do the spot right now.
Yeah.
Like and just like working things around that way, like it's pretty remarkable, man. Like
it's insane.
it's
and
like
you
a jazz song, man. Like, dude, it's like all right, we gotta do this shit. Like, we gotta go. And the next thing you know, it's like they're doing this all day from like 4 a.m. to like the hours are crazy too. Like that's the thing that blew my mind. Like I remember having to go to the radio station to do a bit with Virginia, where we woke up some kid like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we used to do
with
shit
horn
like,
instruments.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I know.
We did bits
but I had
like
to get
that
up
too.
4:30. Virginia's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Can you be here Tuesday at 4:30? I'm like, a.m.
That's
like,
the time I had to wake up every
day.
day.
What is going on right now? But I did it, and it was fun, dude. Like it was cool.
I think you never know what's gonna happen. I'm aging myself here, but I was 18, and I was working at the radio station, and 9/11 happened.
Wow.
And it was
middle
insane.
school.
We're like doing live radio, like, hey, like just stupid shit, you know, like funny, pranky. All right, after Green Day, we're gonna give away the Lincoln Park tickets or whatever the hell. And then all of a sudden, someone calls in. They're like, a fucking plane flew into the building, and then once the second plane hit, and then they just put the microphone on their TV, and then the radio station completely transformed from a rock radio station to just like
Broadcast
news. And that's what I mean. The fact that it was live,
that happened.
you were getting it, you know, in real time. That was one of my craziest radio memories. Was that day? It was insane. I mean, that day was insane for everyone, but being on the radio, we ended up, all of us stayed there all day, doing anything we could to just help people get through that. It was crazy.
Yeah, man. It was. I remember I was in middle school when it happened. I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And
so I got like 7 or 8 years on you. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, man. So yeah, 6th grade. I remember the teacher. We had the TV wheeled out, and how to like the morning announcements and all that stuff going on. And then she gets like another teacher walks in and talks to her, and then she flips the TV to the news, and we watch it go down. And you know, she's crying.
Yeah.
It's the first time I was seeing my teacher cry
Yeah.
ever. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is going on right now? Like,
It
and then you
was nuts.
see it, and it just looks like anything else you've seen on like movies and all sorts of stuff. But it's like, but then, you know, the whole day was just.
It kept getting worse. And then you're like, and then the building, the first one falls. You're like, what? And then,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's awful. And then another one comes in. It's terrible. Like,
Yeah.
it was, yeah, you know, to recall that in a vivid way. Like, yeah, that's a crazy moment.
instead of music for this episode, let's just talk about 9/11 conspiracy theories. Building 7. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You saw the face in the smoke. Though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. If you take a $20 bill and you fold it a certain way, you could see.
Oh Lord.
But yeah, radio is fun. I just did with our band, we played the Riptide Music Festival this
how was that?
weekend. That was a lot of fun, and a lot of people that work for that station now used to work for the Buzz. My buddy Ross Mahoney.
I remember that name.
He's one of my best friends.
He's one of the,
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he lives in Las Vegas, but he oversees, I want to say, like 4 or 5 different radio stations. That's kind of what happened in radio. Is just a lot of consolidation, where one guy will oversee a bunch of stations, or if you hear someone's voice on the radio, that guy actually lives in Fresno or something, and does you know, the afternoon
that's
drive for
entirely
like
possible.
15 different stations.
Yeah.
It's cheaper for them, and that's how it goes sometimes.
Dude, so first question I ask.
Yeah.
everyone here is, what was the first musical memory that you have, that first time music really just slapped you in the face?
I know it. Me playing it or hearing it?
Hearing it.
I remember being a kid and being obsessed with like oldies radio.
How old were you?
2 or 3.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I was obsessed with music as long as I can remember. Because my dad was obsessed with music.
Your dad was obsessed with
So my
music.
dad would just play, but my dad wasn't a musician, but he might as, I'm not going to say he might as well have been, but like,
He had great
he
taste in
had
music.
passion for music the way a
loved it.
musician would, but he wasn't a musician.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just growing up, it was all like Rolling Stones and Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel and Hall and Oates and yada yada. And then as I got older, I started to show him music. Like, Dad, I think you should listen to Nirvana. You might actually like this. My dad loves Wilco. And he loves Jack White. He loves the White Stripes.
I love the White Stripes.
Yeah, so do I. And that's a big bond with me and my dad. But I remember for my 3rd birthday, I got Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, on cassette.
Nice. What a great song.
For my birthday.
Yeah.
I love that record.
Bruce is if there's one way to epitomize America, like in music, I think it's just Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, that blue collar, amazing.
Everyone
3-hour
loves
shows.
Everyone loves Bruce.
He's amazing. Bruce, and it's so funny when you see him live, everyone goes, Bruce! And I'm like, don't boo the man. But they're not booing him, they're saying, Bruce! Because I've seen him a couple times. It's such a good show. But I remember just being a kid. I loved oldies radio. I loved Motown so much.
Yeah.
And I got a cassette. This is back when, because I was young as hell, so it was cassettes, box set, and it had all my favorite oldies on it. And I would memorize like what year all the songs came out. I mean, I was a nerd from the get.
Yeah.
And
dude, so I had one of my previous podcast guests, Jason Cololino, grew up in Jersey. And he was telling me that he would go trick-or-treating to Bruce's house.
No way. Asbury Park or whatever?
He said Bruce had the best candy.
I bet.
And it was a blast.
Yeah.
Like, he was just happy and just, like, giving out sweet candy to kids. Like, hey, like, you know, and he said sometimes there was a line to go trick-or-treating to his house.
I would wait in line to get candy from Bruce Springsteen. Absolutely.
Isn't that such a sweet memory as a kid growing
That
up? Like,
is.
and he became a musician. Listen to all this music that your dad loved.
Yeah.
He plays a lot of those songs, man. Simon and Garfunkel and all that stuff. Man.
I
It's
love,
cool.
and he's had a career that's spanned what, like 5 decades. I mean, his shows still sell out, and he plays 3 hours every night, and it's because he loves it, and he looks great. He's in incredible shape. I mean, I think that just goes to show you, if you do what you love every day and you stay busy with a passion, you're probably going to age better. I mean, he looks incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm really stoked for Bruce Springsteen. I saw him in Albany maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, and it was an incredible show that I'll never forget.
Yeah, just that to me, it just epitomizes how much he loves music.
Yeah.
Like, he loves music so much he's willing to work out for it.
I love it. I think that's even like Mick Jagger. I mean,
they all got their shit together.
dude, just the
He's
shape.
like, I want to keep doing this. Like,
Yeah,
how do I do this as long as possible?
They're still on tour. The Stones.
That's exactly it, man.
They're
Like,
80. That's fucking cool.
That's crazy, dude. Less is the
my
time we live in.
my
It's
other
remarkable.
youngest memories, and they're coming to me as we talk. I remember just waiting, watching MTV and certain
Beautiful.
music
I love
videos.
MTV videos.
I was
That's
obsessed with
something I
music.
missed that I wish was
I
a
know.
thing
Oh my
again.
god, especially in like my middle school years and stuff. But when I was really young, I remember just waiting for Def Leppard, Pour Some Sugar on Me to come on. I loved that song.
Oh, nice.
I loved it, and I remember waiting for the Call Me Al video, which was bum 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 bum. And Chevy Chase was in the video. It was Paul Simon, Chevy. Oh, if you haven't seen it, it's like the best music video ever.
Watch it.
Oh,
I haven't seen it.
Legendary. You know that song though, like "Man walks down the street."
I probably heard of it.
If you be my bodyguard, I could be your long.
Oh, okay, yeah,
that song.
Okay.
Epic music video. And then I remember, I really loved Robert Palmer. He did that. You know that song was like, "Gonna have to face it, you're addicted to love.
Yeah, that. Okay.
Might as well face it." And then like he had the hot chicks in the background playing guitar. I love that shit. And I just remember being glued to MTV And then my first time playing music, my grandpa had a piano. And whenever I go to my grandpa, he had a big white baby grand piano. It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And I would go over there when I was like 3, and I would just go to the piano and like dick around. And we had a friend from the Bahamas named Eric Roker, and he was like a professional musician in the Bahamas. Like he did like the hotel circuit and stuff, but he was a good player. At least to my 3-year-old ears, he was. And, I don't know. And then, but he would play, and then I would just kind of like play melodies up, 3-year-old melodies up top. But then he could tell how much I love music, and told my mom, like, you should probably get him lessons. He really likes this. And so I started taking piano lessons when I was like 4 or 5.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why actually. So you started playing music not too long after you really started. You were fully immersed in it.
Yeah.
Your parents were like, this is gonna be a music baby.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. So how was piano lessons like as a kid growing up?
It was cool.
Did you like it?
Yeah, my first piano teacher was named Mrs. Green. She was lovely. Her son was in my class. I went to Jupiter Christian School.
Okay.
And so they would take you out of class. If you took piano lessons at Jupiter Christian, you would get to leave class for a half hour.
Oh, hell yeah.
Go take piano lessons.
That's a deal.
At school.
As a kid growing up,
yeah,
you
like
mean to tell
bonus.
me.
I'm like, you can keep your science class. I'm going to go learn Scott Joplin, the entertainer. No, or whatever. Like Moonlight Sonata. Yeah, see ya, losers.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, so that was it. And then when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I started playing clarinet.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked clarinet. I wanted to play saxophone, but I went to the band director. I'm like, I want to play saxophone. And he goes, well, we're at capacity for
Saxophone's
saxophone
cool,
play.
man.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Get in line, kid.
I'm talking to a ripping saxophone player.
We'll call you when we have an opening for
Yeah.
saxophone.
I'm like, they're like, he's like, no, can't have any more saxophone players. But the next best thing is the clarinet. And I didn't know shit, dude. I was in 4th grade.
Dude, when you look at a clarinet and you look at a saxophone, there's a...
Oh,
you know what I mean?
listen to it. But clarinet
Look,
was...
clarinet's great. I'm sorry. I don't mean to downplay. I play clarinet. I don't
It's
talk
good.
about it. But...
I like clarinet, like... I like that New Orleans style.
Oh,
when
yeah.
people like shred it.
The gypsy jazz
Yo,
stuff.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
we're allowed to say
I
gypsy
know, and
jazz
I love
or
clarinet, and it taught me how to really play with other people, which is huge. So like when I was playing piano, you're mainly playing by yourself when you're taking piano lessons. But then once I got in a band, and you're learning how to blend and learning how to listen.
Yeah.
That was huge. And so I played clarinet, and then I tried out and then I was in chorus. I sang in chorus at Jupiter Christian. And then my chorus teacher, Mr. Mazingo, I remember him telling my parents, there's a school called it wasn't called Dreyfus School of the Arts, it was called Palm Beach County School of the Arts, but he was like, you should have Bryan audition. He really, really likes music a lot. This would be a good place for him. And so I did. I tried out singing and playing piano and clarinet, and I made it. I didn't make it for piano, but I made it for clarinet and singing. And I decided to go with clarinet as my major because I was in 7th grade and I was like a soprano.
Mm-hmm.
And so like clarinet was actually the manlier choice, like the cooler choice.
Clarinet.
Yeah. Walking around. Oh, dude, no one knows what it's like when you're in high school walking around with your clarinet case all day and shit. Yeah.
Well, you went to an art school.
Well, yeah. So once I went to the art school,
So it's like everyone had a case of some sort.
No, School of the Arts is incredible.
What was that like?
It was amazing.
Okay.
I loved it. So when I went there, it was Palm Beach County School of the Arts, and it was where Bach is now. This is in, I don't know how many people watching this are in. We're in the West Palm Beach County region.
They're gonna get educated now.
Yeah. So there's a magnet school. It's like Time Magazine's 36 best high school every year. Like it's always on the top list, but like usually around like 36.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went there, it was there was middle school of the arts, and then there was high school of the arts, and that's where Bach is now. So 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, I went there, and then we switched over, and then it became one. Dreyfus became the high school. Oh no! When I went, it was 7th to 12th grade, and then it split off, and then it became Bach and Dreyfus. And then we went to the new campus, and I mean, all I can say about high school in regards to like how I enjoyed it was the fact that I'm in my 40s now. I'm 41, and I'm still so close with so many people from high school.
It's true. A lot of
I'm like-
incredible bands actually came out of that high school.
Yeah. Oh,
Surfer
yeah.
Blood.
Yeah, Surfer Blood, who's the guitar player in that band, is the drummer in my band.
Yeah, Mikey McCleary.
Yeah, it's a
man.
little incestual, but it's like the best incest ever because it's just more music. It's not like, it's not sketchy. It's like
You guys
good,
aren't
but
all related.
incestual in a good way. Just like musical incest is good, I think. Like jamming with different people and playing with different stuff. I know it sounds bad, but it's actually good.
Feels so good.
But yeah, school of the arts was amazing. It was like
Yeah,
an
it's
art
great.
school out of a movie. Like you would go walk
Really?
down the street and someone's tap dancing while a guy's playing trumpet for them to tap dance with while someone's painting that person. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of what it
That
was
was real
like.
life.
And it was really progressive. Like I went to high school in the 90s and like, you know, there was lots of gay there was a lot of gay guys at School of the Arts, which was cool. But it was very open because in the 90s, it wasn't like it is now. Like it was, I don't know, it's tougher. If you went to a normal high school in the 90s and were openly gay, it might be tougher for you. But but at School of the Arts, it was like, be you, do whatever you got to do. And so that kind of instilled the way I think about people and things from an early age, especially coming from a Christian school.
Yeah.
Where it was very strict.
Yeah, you went with pretty like.
It was like
extreme
night and day.
Spectrums of schooling.
Yeah, nothing against Jupiter Christian, but in regards to how I think about life and people, it was School of the Arts that like opened the door to like, oh my God, there's like so many ways to live and be, and if you do it in a loving way, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like do you and try to spread goodness and love to people, and that's a good way to live.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
So I gotta say that when I was in high school, I went to middle school down here or in Broward, and I went to regular public schools. And I dreamed in high school of going to a school like Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Dreamed of it, dude. To find good music education for myself, I had to work a part-time job, drive like across town to like one like middle school teacher that knew saxophone, like jazz saxophone, to like get lessons from him. And like he only has 45 minutes before he has to go home, so I have to get him at the right time, or else I'm not gonna get a lesson for like a long time. And you know, it's cool to hear, you know, one that I'm like, you know, that I've been kind of rubbing shoulders with all of these other incredible musicians that went to school, but it's like, I don't know, it's like it's a cool thing to have experienced, and I love hearing about it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, you know, I mean, if you get that opportunity, definitely, it's an opportunity. Like it's you know, it's a remarkable thing to bestow upon a kid that truly loves music.
It shaped me.
Yeah.
It shaped me as a person, and beyond music, it gave me appreciation for all the arts and just people's capabilities, and like, yeah, it was awesome. I loved going to that school. We still do like fundraisers and stuff for that school now because I think what they're doing is pretty great. And I don't know how different it is now than when I went there ages ago because I'm an old man.
You're all right.
I'm hanging in there.
I heard 40 is the new 25.
Yeah, 40 is the new 14. I'm come to my quinceañera. But yeah, it was really wonderful. And like I said, I'm still very, very, very close to so many people from that school, and everyone that I'm friends with is doing cool stuff, and they're doing what they want to do, and a lot of it is based around artistic endeavors, and it's wonderful.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up with music?
Yeah.
Pretty much your entire life.
Yeah.
Music school.
Mm-hmm.
Music.
Correct.
Yeah. And then you graduate. What happens then?
Graduate, and I had a band called Gimp, and we played a lot locally, and we would go
What kind of music does Gimp play?
Oh my gosh, I wish
We need to get some Gimp
I have it on
recordings.
here. I think I have it on my phone. Here. I'll grab a YouTube or a
Yeah, you can share me the link, and I can splice it in.
yeah. Also,
And
so we were
post.
like, I would
But you
guess
can put it up to the microphone too.
we were like a
just have that
progressive
element.
funk band. We had a nice little following. Is it in my Dropbox? Here, I'll show you a little bit. Here.
Might have to download it.
Yeah. I'll try to find it if I can. So,
Oh,
the
we're about to
Gimp.
get
So we were called GIMP, and then we changed our name to the Better GIMP because there was another GIMP in New Orleans, and they wanted to sue us. And we said,
Really?
Yeah, we're like, fuck that. Let's have a battle of the bands, and whoever wins
Already
gets...
getting sued at a
at the age of like 19. I'm like, let's have a battle of the bands to keep the
fast.
band name. Here's a taste of my high school. Or no, this is right after high school. Oh, is it downloading?
Was that the first band that you had?
Oh,
you can hear it in this.
Where's that coming from?
It's coming from one of the rooms in the other.
It's attached to the. Hold on, let me get it off. Well, we'll edit this in post, folks. We'll edit this in post. Hold on, this is attached to my drums. Hold on.
Your drums is playing it?
Yeah, you know what? I have a speaker for my electronic drums.
Was this just like a one giant like lead to your drum set that you just got?
Yeah,
you've been playing on.
Here we go. This is some.
That's cool though. Actually, that's pretty. So you can just play it right into your phone. Wow, it's like electronic. What year is this?
2004.
Okay. We got some funk to it. Little privacy vibes.
You got to hear my beautiful voice in a second. I'm kidding. It's not that beautiful.
Wow. Singing lower in your lower register or more.
That's interesting, yeah. I like this part.
This is fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
I want to listen to Gimp, bro.
And then, Gimp was lit. Gimp was lit. And then we get hardcore here. This is where we're hardcore. I'll just.
Dude, I love it.
There you go.
That's fun, dude.
Thanks. So we had that band, and then I was gonna go to college, but then I was like, I like
music college.
Yeah, but then I went to I think I went to Palm Beach State College for like one semester. I'm like, I don't like this. And then I loved radio and music. So I always loved music. I always just love entertainment. Anything in entertainment, like anything that's not real work. Like sign me up. It's like
Fun
getting
work.
out of class for piano lessons. Like I learned from an early age. I'm like, get me out of life for fun and then pay me for it. And so I went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
And then I immediately got an internship at the Morning Buzz, who was hosted by Mark Summers, Jenny Lane, and Dahmer. The Buzz was my favorite radio station. For those that don't know, it was an alternative rock station back in the 90s and early 2000s.
It was incredible.
And so I interned for them. This is coinciding back to that 9/11 story I was telling. So this is maybe not even a year before that. And I got hired as their intern. And the first day, the intern that was supposed to do one of their bits, he didn't show up. So I went to go do a bit for them.
Oh,
Kind of
wow.
like we were talking about Kevin and Virginia, like Jason will do some wacky, crazy
Yeah.
stuff. So I was doing that. And the first bit I did crushed, and it was really funny. And it was a hit. I forget what it was. And so then I became the guy that would go do crazy shit on the streets with my phone. I was fearless. I grew up loving Jackass and Tom Green and all that shit. And so that's what I did. After high school, I had my band and I interned on the radio. And then
Nice.
Yeah, that's
So what was Connecticut School of Broadcasting? What was that like? Explain to people not everyone knows about these different
It's like a
types of
trade
schools and
school.
stuff.
It's kind of what you make of it. It was a good foot in the door. It got me the internship. The internship was everything.
Yeah.
Once I got the internship, I'm like, this is it. I can't let go of it. So I learned everything I could. But my class had a lot of people in it that ended up having good careers. There's a guy named Johnny C. He worked at Real Radio for a long time. He was on a show called The Penthouse. He was in my class. Then there's another guy. Oh, what's his name? E-Rock. He's a producer. He used to be a
I've heard that name
producer.
before.
He used to be a producer on a show called Opie and Anthony, which was like
That's
a famous,
where I heard it from. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But then E-Rock fucked me because E-Rock fucked me because so I was working with this guy named Loper. We were working in Albany, and at the time when we were working in Albany, Opie and Anthony were on the Buzz.
Mm-hmm.
But the listeners wanted a live and local show. Opie and Anthony was syndicated out of New York.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And so we ended up coming back and we got the show and we replaced Opie and Anthony as a live and local show on the Buzz.
Oh wow.
But E-Rock worked for Opie and Anthony.
Yeah.
And knew a lot about me.
Okay.
And like turn up. So then on Opie and Anthony's show, they're like, we just got canceled from this. Call this new show right now. So the first day we're there, we're so excited. We're like hosting, like this was our dream to host the Morning Buzz, and we're doing it. And everyone from Opie and Anthony is calling it. We're like, oh my God, our phones are lit up. Everyone's ready to rock. This is a dream. It's all their fans calling us the most vile names possible. It's our first day at work. It's already nerve-wracking enough. And they're like, hey, you're a little bitch. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
You're a little bitch. And then E-Rock gave everyone my email.
Oh no.
And so then I go open my email box and it's all this vile. Like I could call the FBI probably with some of the shit they were saying. And
oh my God.
and then Opie and Anthony would record. You can find it on YouTube now. Look up Loper and Smitty, Opie and Anthony. Opie and Anthony would record our show, play it. They do a thing called Jocktober where they just listen to other morning shows and make fun of them.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
that.
so they would just fucking make fun of us brutally. And that's what it takes sometimes to make it in this business. You got entertainment's never easy.
Wow.
It's always ridiculous. But yeah,
that
E-Rock
was like a
turned up.
meta, like that was like such a weird, like, that's a crazy move. Like you're like, okay, well, we're just gonna use this for more content on our end, and
Yeah.
just exasperate.
Well,
that
it didn't really like.
It's like dubious, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it was weird. Well, it's weird that E-Rock.
it's an impressive move. Is weird.
I thought that guy was my friend.
Yeah, I know.
But in hindsight, it was kind of funny. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do?
Well, you read it out that way. It's like such an absurd story now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, they were referred to me as what are they? They referred to me as doe-eyed fuck. That doe-eyed fuck. Like I had this like baby face and I guess doughy eyes. I didn't even know I had doughy eyes, but I don't know if we're allowed to curse on your podcast. You can bleep it and post, or leave it.
Yeah,
Just put a parental advisory sticker.
I'll figure it out later.
But that's what happened, and then the Buzz ended up folding like 12 years ago. It actually just came up in my memories.
Really?
The last day of the Buzz was 12 years ago, like yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, how long were you doing the Buzz for before you moved on?
Well, I did the Buzz when I was like interning and stuff for maybe like 4 or 5 years, and then Jeremy Loper, who used to work at the Buzz, he's like, hey, I just got a morning show. This was in Delaware, and so I was doing part-time, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to move to Delaware, but this is like a full-time gig. And sure shit, when I was like 24 or 25, I moved to Bethany Beach, Delaware, which is right on the border of Delaware and Maryland.
I've definitely heard
beach,
of it.
It's a beach town. So it's a
Sounds nice though.
In the
Sounds
summer,
lovely.
in the summer it is. So there's a place called Ocean
Fiction writers go to
Ocean
write.
City. There's a place called Ocean City, Maryland.
Their
That's
next
where
hit.
all Philadelphia, DC, Baltimore people go for the summer to go to the beach. So
Oh,
in the
wow.
summertime, it was popping. In the wintertime, like we think Florida's seasonal, like how in the winter it's popping here with
Yeah.
the snowbirds and stuff. It's nothing compared to there. Like, but it's the opposite. So the season up there, summer was absolutely popping, and then winter, like literally 80% of the businesses just shut down. Like,
Yeah.
shut down.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, so I moved up there with Loper, and we had a successful show, and then we moved to Albany, and then we ended up coming back to West Palm, and that was like, shit, 15, 16 years. That's crazy how long. I can't believe time.
Wow.
Time is scary.
So what brought you back to South Florida?
It was that gig that we got at the Buzz.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, sorry.
Because when we were working in Albany, we did an afternoon show. We were working on a pop radio station.
Oh, okay.
Which was fun. And I lived in like downtown Albany, and that was a good time. And then it was our dream to come back and host that show, and sure shit, we did it. It was crazy. But then, we got heckled by all the Opie and Anthony fans. But that's part of the part of the gig. I guess.
Took your lickings, man.
Yeah,
that was one hell of a lick, man.
All that shit's
more of
good.
Like a flagelling.
All that shit's good for you. All the lickings
Builds
you take in life.
character.
All the lickings you take in life is if you can take them in stride and learn from them, they're all good.
That's a nice little tidbit right there. So, where did music kind of fit into all of this stuff that you were doing?
Yeah.
Like, were you playing shows? What was your first show, actually? Let's get back to that real quick. When did you do your first, live performance? What did that
My
what did that
first
feel
live
like?
performance, so I played
And
in,
where
like,
was this
bands.
in the whole story of
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
were?
I played in, like, bands and stuff, but I remember our first, I played in, like, band, like, clarinet.
Band class.
Yeah, I'm not going to count that as a performance, but I remember, like, where I sang in front of people with, like, a band that wasn't chorus music or anything was my senior year. There was, like, a big talent show at Dreyfus, which was pretty lit because Dreyfus had a lot of talented people, so the talent show was quite good. And we went up there. Yeah, and we had, like, an 8-piece band, and we did all along the Watchtower, but we did the Dave Matthews Band version.
Whoa.
Where he, like, because we had, like, a horn. We had my buddy Nick playing saxophone, and we had a whole band. We had a slew of people to use because everyone was doing something with music or something interesting. And we played at the talent show, and we had, like, the light. We were friends with the lights guys. They were all in technical theater. That's what I mean. Like, everyone did something cool.
Yeah.
And so there's, like, hits in that performance, and they would hit the lights, and it was quite good performance for a first time.
Yeah.
And we did it in front of the whole school, and it killed. And it was like they loved it, and I couldn't believe it. And that was my first time, like, really singing in front of people by myself, not in a chorus. And it went really good. And that started it. That was, like, my senior year in high school.
Wow.
That I remember. And then we started kind of playing shows locally. There was a place called Ray's Downtown Blues Bar.
Oh, okay, yeah, Ray.
Yeah,
Ray
yeah,
Carbone.
yeah. Oh my God, he's a legend to me, and he was incredible at the time because he was the only guy that was really booking. There's a few places, but he was the one that his venue I loved the most that would book all ages shows.
Wow.
Because we were all under 21, and there was kind of a scene. This is back in like 02, 03. There was a nice little live scene here in South Florida, and we would play with a bunch of different bands, and it was really, really fun. And we would we'd make tons of flyers. This is before Facebook or any of that. We'd literally just
So
go.
the flyer game had to be real back then.
Yeah, put them in people's lockers and shit like that, and it worked, and it was really fun. So that was like my first time performing. And then once we were doing radio, I would write a lot of songs for the show, like funny songs.
Oh, okay. So you were still doing some cool music stuff around that as
I
well.
remember.
right?
I should go grab my guitar. I remember one of the songs I did for the radio.
Sure.
Can I go grab my guitar?
Yeah,
Is
of
like,
course.
can you post?
Yeah,
put this in post.
Yeah.
I can get my cat here. I'll show you some of the funny songs we used to do. Hold on.
All right.
Are we on?
Oh, we're on. I know.
Okay, so you want to just hold it like that?
Wow.
Yeah, look at it. I'm gonna sing into your microphone, titties. So I would write parody songs. This was like one of the most popular ones. I remember we played this on the morning show. This is this is a long time ago when I wrote this song, but it's an example of the type of music I would play for our morning radio show. This is called the Oil Song. I'll play you a little bit of it. Oh, hold on, let me do it again. Take two, here we go. I haven't played this song in 15 years, sorry. When I spend $58 to fill my car with gasoline, it makes me want to find the CEO of ExxonMobil and punch him in the testicles 22 or 23 times. I'll make him bleed, and when he bleeds, I hope that he bleeds oil. 'Cause last year ExxonMobil made $36 billion. That's more profit than any company in the history of the earth. I guess it pays to be good friends with people like Dick Cheney. Apparently it determines determines how much your bank account's worth. So I think that Dick Cheney and his friend from ExxonMobil should go hunting and get some drinks. I think that would be best. We'll dress up Mr. CEO in a badass quail costume. I forget this part. This is an old reference. Protect his face, neck, and chest. Alright, let me finish this. Cause while the guy from ExxonMobil buys more Lamborghinis, I can hardly afford to drive my car to Boca. I guess it... Oh... That's all I remember. That's all I remember. But yes, it was like funny, stupid. That was the oil song. I remember that one, like, people that resonated. That was like when gas prices first got really...
Oh, yeah.
As I was singing it, I was like, oh my God, I haven't sang this song in so long, I can't
that's one of
remember
the
it.
sadder parts of the past.
Yeah.
Gas was quite cheap.
Some of those references, too, like...
Feels like criminally cheap now.
The Dick Cheney quail costume.
Yeah.
Do you remember Dick Cheney shot his friend while quail hunting?
Yeah.
So that was the quail reference.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember that in the news. That was
Yeah, so that was the music I was doing on...
That's awesome. So you were writing these types of songs.
Just like stupid songs, but like fun songs, hopefully, because some people like them.
They were fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it seems like such a cool thing that, you know, I feel like everything that you sought out always like fed into music in some way and gave you that outlet. And
yes,
it was just so enjoyable for you. It's
yes, and with like
they're like, you know, they ask you to do it, and you're like, fuck yeah, like this. Like,
well, that was the best part about doing morning radio is like you had to come up with material all the time. So like,
yeah,
you had to come up with shit to do that was entertaining.
That's something that has to be trained too.
For 4 hours.
I feel like that's one of those things with musicians that a lot of times a lot of people wait to get inspired. I'm like, dude, like if you waited to do something when you were inspired, like you wouldn't have a lot of time to. I just feel like it's harder to approach it from that standpoint.
Oh, you know what's inspiring? A microphone that's on, and you don't have a fucking choice but to do a thing.
Yeah.
There's your inspiration, buddy.
What's that pressure like? Like,
it's good.
So some people don't like to, you know, be in the spotlight like that. I mean, honestly, arguably, that's like probably one of the biggest fears that people have, especially people that treat music as a hobby, is like the fear that they have around performance.
Mm-hmm.
But you seem to thrive in it.
Yeah, that's where I'm happiest. I feel best on stage or in that scenario, like in front of a microphone. The thing with the radio is like if you're doing a bit or if you're singing a funny song like that, like a song like that too, it's only 2 chords, but you want it to be simple because you want the words are the most important part to like a comedy song, I think. Sorry if I sang that shitty too. It's early in the day. And
it's okay.
It doesn't need to even be good.
It's a podcast.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
It's not the one on Spotify. It's not the single that we're about to release on Spotify later. Re-release everything.
But on radio, like you didn't know, you can't hear the audience, so you don't know if what you're doing is gelling. All I could base if what I'm doing is gelling is based on how my co-hosts were reacting.
Yeah.
Where when you're on a stage, you get that immediate response. So I'm always like when I'm playing music, I'm always trying maybe new stuff. And I'm always looking at the audience.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm on stage, I'm also a part of the audience.
Yeah.
Because I watch them to kind of see how good I'm doing. Not necessarily how good I'm doing. Sometimes I think I'm killing it and no one gives a shit. And I'm like, all right, that was good. Maybe I need to fine tune it.
They're the mirror.
Yeah. But if I try some new tricks, because I like to do looping and stuff, like if you see like a head turn, or you see a cell phone pop up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this has sparked interest in people.
There you go.
Put it in the bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Refine it. Keep working at it at gigs.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a good way to approach it, I think.
Yeah, to me, that's one of the highlights of your performances is that you're always willing to like just add stuff. Like, like every time like I jam with you guys like at Max's, you know, it's like it doesn't matter what song it is. Like, you're like.
Those are the best parts, though. I think.
You don't even like. It's just whatever. Like you're like, fuck it. This song has saxophone in it now. Like, and you're like, you find a way to make it all feel cohesive.
Because it makes us excited, and then that makes the audience excited. Like, so you want to have, when you perform, obviously you want to have stuff that you know and you have rehearsed and it's good.
Yeah.
But in life, it's those fucking unexpected moments that are the most exciting.
Yeah.
Not
you
just,
never know. You don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the best thing about, like, you know, things that we watch.
Yeah. Like, I'll go to Coachella or something, and I'm like, I'm going to see this band, I'm going to see this band, I'm going to see this band, or any music festival. But while I'm walking, what's this on the side stage?
Yeah.
And you find a new band. Fuck it, I'm not going to see Kings of Leon or whatever. I'm going to go watch. And so that's life, too. That's life, too. You have a thing, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and that's how it's going to work. But on the path, you see something else, and that's the same with a live performance. All right, I'm going to play this song. Oh, but Marcus has got a sax. Oh, he's going to play it. I remember we did a song this past weekend where he played sax, and we were I forget which one it was, but you and me, I was doing some wacky vocal shit, and you were counteracting with a sax, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome and fun. And then if you're having fun on stage, I know it's cliche, then the audience is going to have fun, but it's very true. Like, if there's excitement on the stage, that's going to translate to the audience.
Yeah, the energy is important, and being in something is important. Just allowing that to happen is it's a hard thing to do, and I try to translate it to other people, but the only solution I can ever give them is that you just got to do it.
Yeah,
like, only you are gonna know how you're gonna respond to things. You know,
it's reps,
and you know, for a stage to just feel like from an anxiety-inducing place to like an excitement-inducing place, you're like, oh wow, like, this is my studio, and this is what I'm going to express here.
Yeah.
And coming from it from a theatrical standpoint like that, to me, is just a powerful tool for a musician to do. And I think musicians should learn how to be better, like, actors and entertainers from that standpoint, because I feel like they miss so much. And it doesn't even mean that you need to be someone that has to be overly animated when you perform. But have that comfortability where you get to observe what's going on, and you get to choose how you want to evoke things from others in that way, like emotionally, is such a cool standpoint to come from. And like, I was a front guy for like Public Sounds. We're an instrumental band.
Yeah.
But I had to be a guy that brought people in between the songs and keep doing things. And, you know, I definitely had my ups and downs, but it taught me how to just be comfortable thinking about things, going with the flow. Like this interview, like, I have questions that I'm going to ask you, but I tried to like memorize them, but then I stopped because I was like, what it allowed me to do is actually pay attention more to what the conversation's going on, because then I might have a new question.
Yeah, that's a good, right. This conversation is an exact parallel to exactly what we're talking about in life. Like, oh, I'm going to ask him what his favorite band is. I'm going to ask him blah, blah, blah. And you have those, and you probably will get
fall back on them if you don't know what's going on, and use them as a little safety valve. Like, all right, well, let's resort to this. Like,
exactly. Exactly. And shit, the more reps you get into, the more you really get into like that lemonade lemon shit. When you get reps in, right, like, something can go terrible, and it could ruin a show typically. Like, even when we were playing at Riptide, my guitar cord went out. We're on the main stage at Riptide. This is a huge festival, like main stage. When we were playing, it wasn't that packed yet, but there's still hundreds of people in the audience. And my guitar cable went out in the middle of the first song. I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Now, if I didn't have the reps in, I don't know what I would have done, but when you're playing every day, like, do it. And then you make it part of the performance, and you make a joke about it. And then the audience can like sympathize with you, and then you have an even deeper connection.
Yeah.
I saw Coldplay play once, and Chris Martin forgot the lyrics to The Scientist. Now, normally that could be a real fucking bummer. The lead singer forgets. But he went on the mic, goes, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot the words. We're going to have to take it from the top. And I get goosebumps thinking about it right now because it's such a beautiful moment. And he starts singing again. But the whole audience then helped him sing the words.
Wow.
And it was perfect.
Yeah.
And that was not in the script.
Yeah.
But it was sure as hell the best part of that concert.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about live music, period, is that you get to see those moments. And I think that's what really, for me, resonates. That's what I know. That's, to me, is a mark of a like real musician.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Being able to just handle unexpected things and turn them into, you know, something bigger than just than just the issue at hand. Like, yeah, learning how to keep a face on stage and just go with the flow and kind of accept the ride of it is, yeah, it's a tough skill to learn, but the only way to do it is by doing it. Like,
Yeah,
that's
get the
it.
reps in.
You can't practice performing. Like, the only way you do it is just keep performing.
It's the best. Like, practicing is amazing, but playing in front of people is practice itself. But then you get that instant, like I said,
There's nothing that'll make you better faster than like just and one thing I also know is just being open to the experience too. Like, if you're having a bad experience, accept that it didn't work out, right?
Right.
But use that as a humbling moment for yourself to
And
learn
remember
what to do better.
Remember where you
right?
fucked it up. And this is another example.
Earnestness.
Me and my buddy were playing a private party this past weekend. We were playing a private party at a person's house, this beautiful backyard. And we're doing the party, and it's going great. And sure as shit, someone called the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And the cops came, and party over. And we still had like 40 minutes to play. Well, what did we do? We took our instruments. We went inside to the living room. We gathered everyone. We didn't have a PA. I had a djembe drum, and my buddy had his guitar, and we did like 6 songs in the living room. That was not expected at all. I did not know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Best part of the party.
Yeah.
The woman whose birthday was just like, oh my God, I'll never forget this.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not in the script.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah. So there's so many examples of that with live music. And I would say also in like comedy too. You see stand-up comedy. Some of the best parts is when some drunk idiot says some shit. They're not expecting that, but it creates this moment that's only happening then.
Yeah.
And it feels special and it feels important.
It creates a whole new joke.
Yeah, exactly. And then you
Special
remember
joke.
that, and then you throw that in your bag of tricks.
Yeah.
The more shit you got in that bag where you can react to any moment, the better.
Yeah, that openness and then just willingness to just get in there and do it, I think is just, it's invaluable. Just the thing that I keep saying in different podcast episodes is just like, it's never as bad as you think it'll be.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, experience some painful moments, but it's never going to be like that whole dramatic thing that you think in your mind that this is going to happen, this is going to happen. It's like, no, like, sometimes you just fuck up and no one cares that much, and then you just move on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one's going to dwell on a thing like that more than you.
Yeah.
No one cares as much as you think they do.
Yeah,
so
we're the ones that care.
So make the most of make the most of that moment.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. So what has been one of your favorite performance experiences that are just like really stick out to you and made you really settle? Like, this is like your moment where you're like, this is exactly where I want to be right now. Like one of the most redeeming shows you've had.
Oh my gosh. Well, it usually is. Let me think. Favorite performing. I mean, we've played on some cool big stages back in the day. Because, yeah, I perform just, like, more locally and do a lot of stuff like that. But, like, we did the Riptide Festival. That was fun. We played some Buzz Bake Sales back in the day that were really fun.
Oh, that's cool.
My favorite moments, though, and another one just popped in to my head where we were playing a show and the power went out. This is so similar to the other story I just told.
Yeah.
But we grabbed an acoustic. I stood in the middle of the table, and we just had, like, a 15-minute sing-along. And it was beautiful, and it was in the rain, and it was fucking awesome. So just like moments like that, it's unexpected moments of beauty are my favorite ones. I get emotional too with music. Like when things are clicking right, you can feel it in your bones.
Yeah.
You can get like a goosebumpy feeling.
Who's the last artist or show that you've seen that gave you that feeling?
I saw this band Geese in Washington, D.C., who I really love. They have an album called 3D Country. Check it out. They're amazing. They're a Brooklyn band. And I was obsessed with that record this year. It was my number 1 on my Spotify Wrapped. So I liked the band so much that I went to Washington, D.C. with my girlfriend Maddie to go see them. And they played my favorite song, and they sounded so good. And, yeah, it makes me – I have to, like, hold back tears so much at shows because – music does that to me, and it's my favorite feeling. Being overwhelmed with emotion, there's nothing better. I don't know. It makes me feel more alive than anything else I can think of.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
So that was the last really emotional experience was with seeing that band Geese. But I get emotional. Oh, on that same trip, we went to a jazz club, and we saw this piano player, and they played a 12-minute piece that was like a 12-minute crescendo. Started out with the most delicate playing, and ended up in this cacophony of what some might even interpret as noise, but if you don't have the context of the whole piece, you'd be like, what is it? But in the context of the piece, it was like, oh my God, what a build-up. And I look, my girlfriend was just in tears.
Wow.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah, that reminds me that, oh yeah, we're alive and we're feeling, and this is special.
Yeah, the feeling part's important, right?
Yes.
Like, we can't nullify that or any feelings.
I don't know how some singers, like, I guess they get used to it, but like any band, I mentioned Coldplay before, but like that's an example of a show where a lot of people sing along so much, and the singer will do a thing where he puts the mic out and everyone's singing the words. Yeah. That's got to be so exhilarating. And yeah, I wonder sometimes how they hold back their own emotions. Like, oh my God, 80,000 people singing my song, having
doing this together.
Everyone at the same time is having their best moment of the year, probably one of them.
Yeah.
In harmony. Ugh, like I get emotional even
deep.
thinking
it's very
about
profound.
that. So you gotta, like, as a performer, feel that moment with them, but also reel it in. Don't let it become
experience.
That would be hard for you, right? You got to get the rep, and it comes back to what we said before. Get those reps in.
Yeah.
And if for some people the reps is 80,000 people singing along to your song, and you getting those reps, you're able to keep it together and feel it, but also,
Yeah, it could be a lot, man. Like a lot of times, like part of being open and going with the flow is when you have such a moment like that, you can kind of allow the energy to kind of flow through you and allow you to kind of just be a part of the show in the best and most energetic way possible without getting like too carried away and stuff. But that comes with time too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I remember I had one show I played at a reggae festival. It was Reggae Rise Up, and there was like thousands of people. I was like, holy.
Yeah.
And I got solos to play and stuff, and people, it's like, yeah, it was cool. And you walk around the festival, it was like, oh my God, they want to take pictures with you. Like, you were so good, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and like, you're getting it from everywhere all the time. And during the festival, you're like, what a heartwarming feeling to know that, and to know like how much people appreciate what we do.
Oh, it's
humbling.
It's awesome.
It's humbling.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's funny though, because I'm more prone to be nervous. Like on a big stage, I love a big stage. I love people. I love a microphone. When I have a microphone in my hand, I feel safe.
We're in.
I feel safe with the microphone. I'm way more nervous performing like in front of just two of my friends in a living room.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that intimacy. It's like being naked.
Yeah. I love it.
I'm more nervous doing that. Hey, check out this
spooky.
new than being in front of 1,000 people with a microphone.
Yeah, playing shows where like no one talks because they're just listening to you is very like, you're like, oh,
I
it's
know.
a different feeling.
I know. When we did this Riptide Festival and there was a lot of people there, it was fun too, bantering, like the talking on the microphone and the crowd being receptive to that. I said something after the first song and got like a laugh from the audience, and from there on I felt so much better. I'm like, oh, they're with me.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, they got my joke. They got the joke. On to the next one. I felt like much like a first date or something.
Yeah.
They're not. You get that first laugh on the first day. You're like, oh, okay, I can get through this. All right. Not that I haven't.
They're into me.
I haven't been on a first date in years. I'm happily with my girlfriend for almost 4 years now. But yes, just that idea.
Dates with the audience.
Yeah. Are you guys laughing? You like this? But yeah, it is. It's amazing. That we get to play music.
What about what did the tough times in music look like for you? Like what were some of the toughest moments that you had?
You just don't get burned out. Don't get burned out. We were talking about this before the perk.
Was there a time where you felt that?
I have to do things.
Where you felt like you needed to take a break?
I have to do things to not get burned out.
Okay. When do you feel like you're gonna get burned out?
Well,
when does it feel like you really need to get out? What is that like feeling right before you make plan a trip for yourself?
Every 2.5 months, I'd say. Because I gig relentlessly. I gig 6 times a week. So step one to not getting burnt out. I gig 6 times a week, but those gigs are with a lot of different people. I do a duo on Tuesdays with my friend Jordan. He's incredible. I love him. Wednesdays, I'm usually by myself. Thursday, I do a thing called Bryan and Friends. I play with a different duo partner every week. So getting to play with different people is really crucial for me because I learn something every single time. I learn different ways to play. People groove different. People have different pockets. How does what I do fit with them? And it's amazing on some of those gigs. If I'm playing with someone that I barely played with before, it'll take 4 or 5 songs to find the groove and find that. And so that playing with different people and putting yourself in uncomfortable, quote unquote, uncomfortable situations is actually huge for not getting burned out. Because as soon as you're going through the motions, playing the same set every night, just doing it because you have to do it, well, you're fucked then, I think. You have to put yourself in those positions to have those moments where the cops come, but then you got to go in the living room and it was better than it. You got to the monotony to me is terrifying.
Yeah.
If it feels just like,
That's why I don't like doing that. I don't like the idea of doing a cruise ship gig. It's like I got to play the same show.
I would find a way, even in a cruise ship. I've never done a cruise ship gig, but I've played on a cruise ship. But it was just for one cruise. I wasn't like signed to a contract or anything. It was with the radio station. We did a cruise and I played. Even then, I would just, hopefully find a way.
Yeah.
Hopefully find a way to make it intriguing. And then just take breaks. That's what I mean. Every 2.5 months, I'm like, all right, I've been gigging hard. I need to go somewhere. And I'll go on a trip for 4 or 5 days. And watch other people and keep inspired.
Yeah.
I love being an audience member as much as I love being on stage. And like I said, even when I'm on stage, I kind of feel like I'm part of the audience, which sounds weird because I'm performing, but like you want to be, to me, the audience sometimes is as much as the performer. You'll have someone get up and start dancing. Like we played a gig the other day and this cute kid started dancing. Well, it was amazing. He was dancing so good and people loved it. Well, now he's an audience member, but he's also the entertainer. This is part of the show. This is part of the experience. So, yeah, get those moments happening.
Yeah. Aliana Balatovis says that she has to go camping every 3 months.
Yeah, right. Same. Huge.
So there's something there. I think there's an important thing there that people need to know. Like, we're human beings and we all have our points, and it's up to us to kind of release the valve of that.
And she's awesome. We're playing with her on this Friday. We're doing a Christmas show. This will probably air after that Christmas show, but it doesn't matter. We're just shooting shit.
Well, hopefully there's some video of it online.
Yeah. But she's playing with us, and she is lovely, and she's right. Go camping.
Yeah.
Go look at the stars. Feel small. That's a good, like, when I go camping, when I go camping, I look at the stars and I'm like, oh my God. I love feeling small because it takes some of the pressure off of life. You're like, oh, I'm like literally a microorganism compared to the universe. All you can do is the best you can.
Yeah.
And it takes some of the, I don't know, you realize, there's so much more to life than you. So just do the best you can to make life good for others and yourself.
Yeah, I had a huge issue with just, I'm a very critical person, and I think with a lot of musicians come from this school of just like hypercriticism and like, putting everything in a magnifying scope and trying to see what's going on. But at the end, it can make a really good musician, but it can also break a really good musician too, because the constant need to like always feel like everything needs to be the best that it possibly can is just like, it's exhausting. That's one thing. I learned. Sometimes you like going with the flow of something and being open and just trusting the work that you've done happen, I think is way better. Like you get to really be the observer from that standpoint of life. And you got to actually get to be in touch with those good feelings instead of blotting all of them out just to get something done. Because what's the goal of being the best? Like, once you get that, then what? Like, there's always something else.
That's what I mean by looking at the stars.
It's like, dude,
you're never gonna
if
be
something's limitless, then it's like, oh, okay, like then none of it really matters. So what really matters is where I'm at with the whole thing.
Yeah,
and then you really get to enjoy things from that standpoint. That's kind of that's where my mind's been lately. This is why this podcast is happening now. Is because I'm like, oh, I get to just hang out with my friends and like record them and
It's awesome.
give awesome info to other people that, you know, are coming up in this industry and, you know, that want to be aspiring musicians themselves. And I think it's important for us to be able to give them these stories. So they know what it's really going to be like.
Because you're never going to, so don't strive to be the best, but strive to be, this sounds cheesy as hell, but like, you're never going to be the best, but you can strive to be the best version of yourself. And like, I lived in Los Angeles for a few years.
When did that happen?
I lived there I moved back right at the beginning of COVID. And I lived there for 5 or 6 years. And I didn't even do music out there. I was doing TV. I worked on the TV show Ridiculousness. And it was really fun. And I played a little bit of, I did play music here and there. But I was surrounded by really amazing people. And the best part of living in Los Angeles is on any given night, you can go out and see something incredible. Whether it's music, comedy, performance. LA is an amazing place to watch talented people do incredible things. So I would go to so many shows, and it was so inspiring. And what you learn, like, there's a million good singers out there. There's a million good guitar players. What you should be striving for as an artist is gathering all the influences, whether it's that Def Leppard song from when you were 3 or whatever, the power going, soak it all in like a sponge, and then be the best version of you. Like, I just try to do Bryan Smith, like, uniquely me things to the best of their abilities. Because hopefully there's only one Bryan Smith. Although there's lots of Bryan Smiths, because it's a very common name. And I used to be in a Facebook group filled with Bryan Smiths. I'm not even lying.
The League of Smiths.
All with a Y. So that's a bad example. There's a lot of, but you know what I mean? Like, just be present, pay attention, and try to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, man, that's great advice.
Yeah.
So what's a big musical pet peeve of yours?
People that don't listen.
I'm sorry, say that again.
People that don't listen good. People who aren't in the moment. Oh, musical pet peeve. It depends. There's different levels based on how good people are. Bands that don't have a pocket is infuriating.
Ooh, okay.
Bands that don't, because there's tons of bands around. So we're in South Florida. There's lots of different bands. Some are very, very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
Some are very, very, very mediocre. And I think step one to going from mediocre to good is like the cohesiveness of a good pocket. I love rhythm.
Yeah.
Rhythm makes you dance. Rhythm makes you move. I love performing in front of little kids, because little kids don't even know it's cool yet. If they're moving, it is a genuine reaction. There's no, oh, am I supposed to? They're just moving because it's instinctual.
Yeah.
So that comes from pocket. Bands that don't have a good sense of feel and rhythm, that's a pet peeve.
That's fair. Yeah.
Less is more. People who will sacrifice the pocket to do some drum fill that's annoying.
Yeah.
That's, mind you, I also love crazy technical music. So drum fills can be great. Like if you're like legit as, you know, I'm this is a very just a vague thing I'm saying, but, and I think pocket comes from listening and paying attention sometimes. So with my band, I have Mikey and Tom, and they're amazing, and I love the way our pocket feels. But sometimes we'll have different drummers, and they play different.
Yeah.
So I will change the way I approach my rhythm guitar playing to fit with that, and that comes from listening. So people that don't listen, people that aren't in the moment, people that aren't ready to make something happen because they're not there.
Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah, that's kind of, it goes, hey man, it's like I guess it's the theme of this episode of this interview is when you when you cannot be flexible and you come in with a plan and you're like, I'm just gonna do this no matter what else is going on around me, then you separate yourself from what's going on around you.
Yeah, have the plan, but no, that plans change, and just keep it there. That's your baseline, but get ready for the ride, because it's the most fun part.
Yeah, man. It reminds me of like working like in the kitchen, like at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot like that, man.
Yeah.
It's like things are happening. You're gonna do stuff, and you're just going with just what's happening until it's over, and that's it. That's all we can do.
And it's teamwork too.
Yeah.
Like
you got
a
you got to
kitchen
be
is
open to it.
a kitchen is great teamwork. When I worked in
Absolutely.
TV, when I worked on Ridiculousness, that group of people is
Oh,
great
production
teamwork.
crews.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's so important.
It's awesome. It's beautiful.
That's
And
why I like working on production crews. It's like humbling experience.
yeah, oh yeah, fuck yeah, it is. And it's great, and it's for the greater good. You're putting on a TV show and a band. A band is teamwork. A band reminds me almost of like a basketball team, right? Let's say you have a 5-piece band. You have 5 basketball players. One's a center, one's a point guard. Each one has the attribute that's going to help make it bigger than they are. It's the what's that phrase? The is bigger than the whole. The sum is bigger than the single. Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Everyone's got their purpose, and with all those purposes combined, you have your band or your basketball team or your kitchen crew, and hopefully, the sum is greater than the parts. That's the phrase.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it's like a cool math equation. All you're trying to do is get together to make something bigger than all of us combined.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You know?
It goes back to the stars.
So it's just more output. Yeah.
It goes back to everything is you are higher power. I'm not religious, really, but I do believe in the concept of a higher power. Just the idea that you are a small speck of this universe. Everything is more than you, and all you can do is be a part of it.
Yeah.
And contribute to it in a positive way.
I love it.
This is some hippie ass shit. Do we have some incense? Let's go.
No.
I'll get some tabla drums.
Well, we got the Christmas incense going on. The
yeah,
classic.
we do. We put the Christmas tree up yesterday. It's looking good.
It's beautiful.
Cats are already fucking it up, but it's nice.
So, let's see here. I got split between 2 questions. Well, one of the questions that I'm gonna ask is like, what's been like a huge musical influence on you personally, like throughout the years? If there's like a constant musician or a personal favorite that you've been digging on lately.
As a singer, there's a guy named Mike Patton. He was a singer of a band called Faith No More, and he sang in a band called Mr. Bungle, and he's in like 200 bands, and he's an influence just because. First off, he's an incredible vocalist, but his approach to music, like there's no boundaries with anything he does. He'll make a Italian jazz record, and then he'll make a death metal record. And just from a young age, I was a huge fan, and I just love the idea of no rules, do whatever you want. And in singing, he's very animated as a singer, and he can sing many styles, and I like to try and do that too as a singer. Your voice can do a lot of things. Like the Beatles, I loved when Paul McCartney would change his voice up in certain songs and almost take on characters with his singing. Because there's not a lot of singers to me that do that. So that's a big influence. I like to try and do that with my singing. What else is a big influence? Yeah, Mike Patton's a big influence. I don't know. That's the first one I can think of that really comes to mind. But I'm influenced by everything. Every single performance I see.
Yeah.
I'm influenced by it. And I take something away from it.
Nice.
And if something happens that knocks my socks off, I'll never forget it. And I'm not going to like steal that move or whatever that moment was, but I'll remember it, internalize it, and hopefully one day we'll be able to do an inspired version of that if the time calls for it. Yeah. When I perform.
Yeah. It's something that a musician told me, I think it was Matt Brown. He says, like, sometimes I just, like, learn, like, I listen to a song that I like a lot, and I just learn how to, like, the parts of the song that I like the most, and then just start making separate songs out of those parts.
That's a cool idea.
You know, and I was like, that's such a great way to approach things. It's one, like, you're developing your own taste.
Yeah.
And then you're digging deep into, like, it's almost like kind of going under the hood and understanding, like, why do I like this shit so much?
That's why music theory.
Why does this feel so hip to me?
Yeah.
And then you, like, see what's going on in there. And you're like, musical mechanic. You're like, oh, yeah, this is dope. Then you take these parts and you freaking, you know, put a new body on it. And, you know, you're like, oh, this is my car now. This is great. Like,
yeah. That's why music theory is kind of important. I don't think you have to necessarily know a ton about it, but, like, intervals and things and, like, dissecting songs in the way that you're describing, knowing what intervals and what rhythms make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Well, you put that in your bag of tools, and then you can use that
Mm-hmm.
So I think dissecting music like that is very cool. Sometimes I'll listen to a song that I've heard 100 times, But on the 101st listen, I'm just gonna focus on the bass line, and it's like I'm hearing the song for the first time. I'm like, this bass line, because I've always heard it as just a song, but now I'm focusing. What song was I listening to? There's a song by the Four Tops called Bernadette. It's an amazing song.
Yeah.
And James Jamerson plays the bass line on it. And I've heard it a million times. But then I was on a website, they're like, top 5 James Jamerson bass lines, Bernadette. I didn't even know James played Bernadette. For those who don't know, James Jamerson's one of the greatest bass players of all time. He did like half the Motown songs and was a huge influence on the likes of Paul McCartney. Yeah, James Jamerson is unbelievable. But then I listened and paid attention to the bass line. I was like, oh, this is unbelievable. I'm hearing the song in a new way. I think that's a cool way to listen to music sometimes is listen to it and focus on just one. Even in reggae music, just listen to the hi-hat, the rhythms that they do in the hi-hat. There's so much space and good reggae.
Mm-hmm.
The hi-hat is what's dictating the rhythm. Focusing on different parts and or learning them like your friend did.
Yeah,
I think is huge. I think you can dissect it with musical theory. You don't want to overlay dissect because that can get. It was like what you were saying earlier, like, oh, you try so hard to be perfect that it can almost be counterintuitive. But an understanding of musical theory, I think is good.
A car that's always getting worked on is never driven.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's what cars are meant to do.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. Songs are like cars, man.
I think they are.
You just gotta drive them and
show
them off a little bit. Let me bring people in on it too.
Yep.
So, okay, so imagine the Bryan that did the first show, the 17-year-old Bryan that we talked about, right? 17?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. If you were going to give that Bryan one key piece of advice from everything that you learned up to this point with music, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to listen to this podcast.
Give him the podcast.
Honestly, like all the things that just be open, pay attention, listen. Surround yourselves with people that inspire you, that excite you. That's a huge thing. Be around people that are better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Around this town, if I hear someone that's good, I go and meet them.
Yeah.
And I'll chat with them. Don't play with people that suck. I've been on gigs. We were talking about pockets before, like where last minute I got stuck with the drummer. Now, mind you, I'm lucky. All of my friends are pretty fucking good at. Most of my friends are pretty good at music. Like the big majority of my friends are musicians, and they're great. And I think that's why they are my friends. But I've gotten stuck where last minute I had to get a drummer that I didn't even know, and they didn't have and it's such a bummer. But surround yourselves with people that you think are better than you. That's what I would tell. Yeah, and that's I think I've done. I think I've always done that. I love the people that I'm around, and I love how good they are at just life and music, and listen to the advice I would give is stuff that I ended up doing anyways, because that's just the person I am. Listen to everything. Try to listen to every kind of music. Try to understand. The more you listen to things, I mean, that stuff gets sucked up like a sponge. The more diverse I think you'll be as an artist and interesting as an artist.
Awesome. I'm loving it. So Bryan, where can people find you if they want to look up your music or anything that you're doing, your show schedule?
We're just on the socials, so it's
you're on Instagram now.
Yeah, we finally have an Instagram, which is insane that it took so long. Well, I just always promoted on my personal Smitty Balls on Instagram, but it's Girlfriend Material Band on Instagram and Girlfriend Material on Facebook, and we play a lot of shows in South Florida, and they're all kind of different from each other, which is fun. And music is like the best thing ever. That's what I think.
It's awesome. I'm having a blast with music,
love it.
man. I'm having a blast doing these episodes.
Yeah.
You know, on behalf of the listeners here and the South Florida music community, Brian, I just want to thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I appreciate you a
Thank
lot,
you.
Marcus.
Thanks, man. Thank you for your incredible performances and
Thanks, man. It's
how
right
much
back
of yourself
at you.
that you give into your shows, man. People feel it, and it means a lot.
Well,
So,
that's
thank
awesome.
you.
I'm glad. That makes me happy.
All right, man.
All right, appreciate you. Thanks, Marcus.
All
I was
right.
gonna do the fist bump.
Oh,
This is what- ever since COVID, dude, this is all I do. Like, cause remember COVID, we were just, and now it's just this weird.
I do the bump too, but I'm also
I'll do
left-handed,
either.
so-
Well, I was also holding with the right hand side to come in. I'll just grab your balls next time.
All right, that's
All
it.
right, see ya. Time for a bass line. Yeah. Everything at Publix is way too expensive. 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 $7 for a box of Cheerios. You're out of your fucking mind. Needed to get cat food and a bag of ice. $178 later, I leave the store. I'll tell you why. It's because everything at Publix is way too expensive. 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 Everybody! Everything at Publix is way too expensive. Everything at Publix is way too expensive. Everything at Publix is way too expensive.
I'm in a nightmare!
Everything at Publix is way too expensive. Everything at Publix is way too Thanks for watching the podcast, everybody. Publix is way too expensive. Everything at Publix is way too expensive. One more time. Everything at Publix is way too expensive. 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 Everything at Publix is way too expensive.